C++ coders, we are going to look at something called an enumerated data type, and there are some links and some other information already posted here that I hope you have looked at. There is also an introductory video if you go to our video slides, and I've put enumerated types under a tab called Advanced Data. And so the introductory video is here, Gaddis 9th edition enum. So I'd watch that video if you have not already, or if you've never had any exposure to enumerated types. We are specifically going to be looking at an example that is going to mimic your assignment. So you're supposed to write a program that prompts a user to input the days of the week, and in the program they call a function that accepts the enumerated data type day with the variable named today. So you have to create an enumerated type named day, and then it is then going to print the values for yesterday, today, and tomorrow, one on each line, and they are just printing the numeric value of the enumerated types. I've made mine a little bit fancier, and so I'll explain that as we get to it. And then they want you to use a sentinel controlled loop to ask them if they want to play again or print again, etc. And then it does give a hint here to watch out for the first day of the week and the last day, because those are special cases. So the program that I have decided to create is not a days of the week, but I decided to do springs, summer, fall, and winter. So those are the seasons. So we're going to start with this, and I'll explain every line of code here. Might get just a little bit long, but these are very useful so user-defined types in C++, and so it's kind of interesting to take a look at some of these. So first of all, because we want to be able to set up a function that accepts our enumerated type, I do need to declare enum outside of main. And you don't always have to do that, but in this case, I need to do that. I also, when I create this enum, I decided I wanted mine to start at an index of 1. And so spring is the first season, and then summer will be 2, fall 3, winter 4. So whatever enum this starts at, like if I decided I wanted to start it at 10, they go numerically in order. This summer would be 11, fall would be 12, winter would be 13, etc. But I wanted to start at 1. Next, I have a prototype line for my method, and so you are going to be accepting a enum called with a day type. Mine is the season type, so this is my enum type right here. And then I said I made mine a little bit fancy, and that's because I'm going to pass in a string array that has the names of the actual seasons in it, and we will talk about that when we pass it in. When I created my seasons, I decided to have a blank for the first array element. That's the 0th index. So then spring starts with an index of 1, summer has an index of 2, etc. And then that's going to line up with what the value of my enum is. I could have had everything start at 0 as an index, but I wanted to show you this little trick also, that you don't always have to use the 0th element. And if you'd rather start counting at 1 with some things, this is a way to do that in an array. I have a local user choice variable that's just going to be an integer, and then I have the user is going to have a enumerated type called favorite season. So I'm going to run this so you can see what it looks like when it executes. So when we run this, it's just going to say, please enter your favorite season or -1 to quit. So if I enter 2 for summer, it's going to output, right now it is outputting the numeric equivalence to my favorite season was summer was 2, and the season before it is 1, and the season after it is 3. Those are the enumerated values. If I enter 4, it says the previous season is 3 and the next season should be 1. And so that shows you kind of the wraparound. And then I'm going to show my sentinel value. If I enter a -1, it's going to quit and say, all done, thanks for playing. So this is similar to what your output could be. And then I'm going to show you how you can make it a little bit fancier and actually print the name of the seasons. So if we go back and take a look at the code, I did my menu here. These few lines of code here kind of set up my menu. I chose to left justify everything. I put everything in a set width of 11, and then I printed my menu out horizontally just to save some space. You can print yours horizontally or vertically. I recommend that you use a menu for this so that you're not trying to type in the word spring or the day of the week, as in Monday, Tuesday, etc. There are just too many mistakes that can happen when you actually input string data. So don't give the user a choice to do that. Force them to enter a numeric value. And then the user enters a choice. Now, my instructions were that I had to send an enum to my function. So I need to change or cast user choice to my enum type. So that's what this does right here. User choice is cast to season. This is called casting. So I'm casting the integer user choice to an enumerated season choice or season value. And remember, season is my enumerated type up here. So I can use this word season just like a data type. That's what that's doing down here. So it's changing the data type from integer to the data type of season, and that's my user-defined type. So this is what we call a user-defined type. That's what an enum is. You defined it, okay? So my sentinel controlled loop says while the user choice does not equal -1. This is not a real robust error trapping, but it kind of gives an idea of what they meant by using a loop. So if they input anything, I'm kind of trusting that they're going to input 1, 2, 3, 4, or -1. If they mess that up, then my whole program will break. And then here I call my method print season. I send in the favorite season, and I send in the season names. When I get all done printing the method, then I repeat my menu again. So anytime you have this type of a loop that you're going to ask them to run again, you always have to have kind of like the prompt and the first go around, and then you have to reprompt for the next time around. And so that's always going to happen when you're doing a sentinel controlled loop and you need to say, do you want to play again or do you want to execute again? You'll have a prompt before the loop, you'll have your loop control question, and then you'll have to reprompt inside the loop. So if you notice, these two are identical. I should probably create a method for that, but I decided not to. Now, my method, print season data, accepts an enumerated type. Let's scroll down and take a look at how this works. My enumerated type is season. I called it favorite. Remember, yours will be day and today. And then I passed in this array of strings, and I'll show you how that works here in a minute. I decided to use a switch case structure. It's been a while since we've looked at this, and you guys are supposed to use one at least once throughout the year, so this might be a nice time to do that. My switch statement is based on the enumerated value. Because an enum has an integer value, I don't have to change the data type back to an integer. So whatever they entered is going to be depend on which case I look at. So I have case 1 through 4, and this is another reason I decided to start my enum at 1, because I didn't want to have like a case 0. I like to start with case 1. So if it's case 1, that means that they chose spring, and then my previous, I know my previous, season is going to be winter. My next season, because it's an enumerated type, I can do addition with that value. So I'm just going to say favorite plus 1. So that would be 1 plus 1 or 2. And then if I'm in the middle, I have actually duplicate kinds of the algorithm is basically the same. The next one is going to be the favorite plus 1, and the previous will be the favorite minus 1. So if I'm not on the ends or the extremes of my choices, then I have a very similar algorithm, and this is another use of the case statement that you maybe have not seen. This is what we call fall through on a case statement. Case 2 and case 3 basically have the same algorithm. So all I have to do is say case 2 colon and then case 3 colon, and it will execute both of these for if it's case 2 or case 3. So basically this is a way to say have an or statement in here. That's what this does. It says if it's case 2 or case 3, we're going to execute this algorithm. And then my case 4 is my other end or my boundary. So if I'm in winter, then spring will be the next season, and then my previous will be the favorite -1. And you saw it printing numbers when we first executed it, but I'm going to comment out those lines of code. In order to print the numeric values, I just had to print previous, favorite, and next. But now, instead of printing the numeric values, I want it to actually print the seasons, and that's why I passed in that string array. So I'm going to print names bracket previous, names bracket favorite, and names bracket next. And if I run the code, again, we should see that if I input, let's say summer, which is 3, then it's going to print, well, your previous season is, oh, excuse me, I entered 3, which is fall. The previous season is summer, the favorite season is fall, and the next season is winter. If I test a boundary case, let's do spring. So my previous should be winter, and my next should be summer, and it did output that correctly. And then I input -1 to quit. So your program is going to be very similar to this one. You do not have to send in the string array, but yours is going to be days of the weeks instead of seasons of the year. So I'm just going to scroll through this code one more time, and you can take a look at how it's going to set up. Please email me questions if you have, but this should get you kind of set up to do your days of the week with your enumerated types. And then you want to paste one execution of your code below here.